The 900-pound elephant in the room, though, is the relationship between the CPL, Canadian soccer business, and the governing body, Scotty. There's been a lot of criticism. You guys have been relatively quiet about it, going about your business. Is there anything that you can tell us about the relationship and what the future holds?
Listen, I'm happy to chat about it as long as you guys want. The CSB was created alongside the CPL. Without CSB, none of those jobs that I've talked about exist. That was the whole the basis for creating this project, was you had to create a commercial opportunity for people to invest and a commercial opportunity for us to invest. We wouldn't have been able to create the league, create League One, create these 500 jobs across the country if it wasn't for CSB. And I think, John, to your point, it's been very tempting at times. We've certainly taken the high road. We've tried not to get into the fray. The reality is that 99.9% of the criticism is related to a labor dispute between Canada Soccer and their players. And that predates, unfortunately, the CSB agreement, and it's still going on. And it's been unfortunate. It's been very, very bad for the whole project. You know, when you're canceling games and missing games and have friction and fraction with your players, both the men and the women, it's not good for anybody. You know, we've tried to do our part to help. We've offered dozens, hundreds of times to offer to help in any which way we can. But ultimately, Canada Soccer and the players have got to put this to bed. And there's no assignment of blame to either. But I think in both cases, it's a major issue for Canadian soccer, and we want to do our part to contribute to a solution. But it's very hard to contribute to a solution if the players and Canada Soccer aren't on the same page. And I think it really was at some points toxic in the last 18 months. I think it's gotten better. I think there's been a lot of slow movement to get it to a point where there's some understanding. But you know, I do think that the players in some cases are getting some very interesting advice from some American lawyers. And you know, at some point in time, Canada Soccer has made a very, very lucrative offer to the players, both the men and the women. They're offers that are competitive on a global scale, much higher offers, quite frankly, than some of the biggest countries in Europe are paying their players. And at some point in time, there's going to have to be a meeting of the minds of, are we all trying to move this project forward, or are we trying to tear it apart? Because we need to move forward. The 2026 World Cup is only a couple of years away.
Scott, is there anything?
So are there triggers in your deal that say the more money you make, they get more money?
There is, and it is a complicated formula, to be honest with you, and I understand why some people don't understand it. And I'll be honest with you, I think the CSB, I'm going to say it was unintentional. I think the CSB was thrown into this as a bit of a negotiation tactic when they were at a stalemate. That was a major mistake at the time, because I don't think people understood what the CSB deal was, and it kind of took on a life of its own. But there's all sorts of opportunities for Canada Soccer to benefit from this deal. We've also, as I think it's been widely reported, we have been in front of Canada Soccer for more than 18 months asking them, how can we help? You know, how do you want to amend our deal? How do you want to amend the agreement so there's more alignment? And I think Canada Soccer is obviously keen to talk about that. But the reality is when you have 3 presidents of Canada Soccer and 3 general secretaries of Canada Soccer within a space of 2 years, you know, it's hard to move things forward. I think Charmaine has come in under very difficult circumstances. You guys know Charmaine Crooks. She's the new president of Canada Soccer. There's no nicer, better person than Charmaine. She's sharp. You know, she understands sports. She understands athletes. And I think we've made some major advances since Charmaine's come in. And it's really about coming together and saying, hey, how can we make sure this arrangement is aligned for everybody? But you know, that's not about paying the players more money. You know, the offer that Canada Soccer has made is a very, very strong, globally competitive offer. So any changes we make in the agreement will be very specific to the benefit of Canada Soccer and the project as a whole. And we're talking to them about that all the time.
I'll give a tip of the hat to the Charmaine, the Crooks family. We grew up around the corner from each other. We went to grade school together. So I hear what you say there.
He ran faster than you did, though.
Oh, way faster. They timed me with a sundial. Scott, as a guy who has in a leadership position like you are, you talk about all of the movement and all the the changes going on. What can you do as somebody who has that kind of experience outside of your league stuff or your project stuff, stepping in as an individual and say, hey, this is just me, but here are my recommendations, or here's the way I see it, stepping back, trying to be totally objective about it?
That's a great point. And as John knows, Paul, I've been on both sides. I've represented players on the as an agent, and of course, as John knows, I've been on the committee, on the collective bargaining committee with the CFL for the last 10 years. And look, we've had some tough negotiations with the players on that side, but it's been a very interesting and educating experience. So, you know, I think we and I have provided our advice through a long period of time here with the players. I mean, really, the deal with the players should have been done long before they went to the World Cup. That was a long time ago, and it didn't get done. And it's been festering ever since. We've made it clear that we have a lot of resources, advice, people that have great experience that we think can help. But the challenge a little bit, Paul, is just we're not at the table. It's the players and Canada Soccer who are dealing with this. And you know, we don't want to cause more confusion. You know, we can't inject ourselves unilaterally into the discussions. I think we've tried to play a part in the solution. And really, it's a very tough labor dispute that has to get resolved. And as I said, I can't be more clear. There's no blame to assign, but Canada Soccer has made a very, very lucrative offer to the players that is extremely.
Do you think your company's been painted with a bad brush?
I certainly don't want to say that there's any victim card here, because that's not what it's about. The challenge is it's hurting the business, and it's hurting the business from a commercial perspective, which hurts the whole project. So, you know, I'm not concerned, and we're not concerned with being painted, you know, as the bad guy. It's certainly not the case. You know, when you're doing something that's never been done in this country in terms of creating 500 full-time jobs in this country in soccer, I think we're very proud of that. I think we're proud of everything we've done. The CPL is certainly showing great growth. So the project, I think, has been hugely successful thus far, with a long way to go. But the simple fact of the matter is that this labor dispute is very, very harmful to the project. It's hurting the players. It's hurting the project. It's hurting Canada Soccer. And both parties need to get down and get a deal done.
And you're comfortable with the leadership at Canada Soccer going forward?
Well, again, it's new leadership. I think Charmaine has got great experience. I think she's doing everything we can. Jason is again new to this. And I think he's doing everything he can. I know Canada Soccer is now in a formal search for a general secretary, and I know, you know, Jason DeVos under very difficult circumstances is doing everything he can. But you know, at the end of the day, they need to get their pieces in place, and I think on the other side there needs to be some better advice for the players to understand that, look, this is about building a project together. This isn't about burning the house down.